big problem. Blizzard, Moonblast as well. It doesn't want to face that, so we might see a lead of it here, and yes, we do.
Yeah, what a well-put read, my friend. Even doing it so behind the caster desk, we'll be seeing our trainers unfold all of the action. We have got round 8 right now, turn 1.
So there's the Grassy Seed boost on that Sneasler there. So I really like this read from Eric here, kind of countering what might be able to stop a Komodo setup here and responding with a Sneasler that looks really strong at the moment with that Grassy Seed boost and that acrobatics access there, really having a lot of offensive pressure onto this Rillaboom.
Right.
And you've also got that like Rillaboom on the other end, which just has massive just general grass damage onto a Ninetales that is often carrying Focus Sash, but on Federico's it's not. It's that Life Orb, most often very offensive and may not actually be able to take a Wood Hammer.
Yeah, that is a really good call out, as the Fake Out will be coming out first from Rillaboom on Eric's side onto the opposing one. Dire Claw into the Ninetales, not quite enough to be able to pick up a KO. Blizzard, Life Orb boosted, not enough to pick up the Rillaboom either, but so much damage and a critical hit on both of Eric's side. I was like, that's so much damage with the Life Orb, but no, it's sort of like the equivalent of having like a choice specs as well as a Life Orb due to the double crit scenario.
Yeah, it kind of is actually. So yeah, that's interesting. Eric really going for the Fake Out into that Rillaboom was like a big call there. You're just kind of banking on everything knowing you all the faster Rillaboom.
Yeah.
This seemed to be the case, obviously. It's giving the Grassy Surge kind of turn as well. But still could have been a little bit of a speed time, but maybe Eric knows he's a little bit of a faster Rillaboom anyway, denying that Fake Out Rillaboom potential there too. But obviously going to this next turn now, this Ninetales has dished out so much damage now, but has it done enough? It is now definitely in range of what the Sneasler can do, and the Sneasler though could still be in range of the high horsepower from the opposing Rillaboom, which is now uncontested and can most likely survive a Dire Claw or an acrobatics from Eric's Sneasler too.
Oh, as we do have the Dragonite's multi-scale broken in favor of a lot of Ninetales survival here. Dire Claw not enough, 15 hit point survival with a paralysis escorted on the side. Will Federico's Rillaboom be able to move? It can. Wood Hammer, it's gonna be more than enough given around the 30-40% HP range remaining on the Sneasler, even though, of course, it did have the Grassy Seed defensive stage prop.
And that recall is now enough to actually KO that Rillaboom itself, rather than say a high horsepower, which would have kept that Rillaboom around. However, you at that point, a paralyzed Rillaboom versus another Rillaboom on Eric's end, you probably actually wanted to go down at that point, so you can bring in something nice and fresh to support this Dragonite here, because at the moment this Rillaboom's not doing a whole lot. It's not got its Fake Out turn on the board. Yeah. So the question is, what has Eric brought in the bag? Do we have that Komodo there or not? I want to say yes, but I think it's a really good call that Federico has preserved that Ninetales. He knows he wants to preserve it just in case a Komodo is coming up there, because it's such a win condition and such a threat as soon as that Climber Soul gets set up. Wow.
I'm seeing the Primarina, David, and I feel like this is such a big thorn in Federico's side, given the Dragonite on the field as well as that Blaziken. Both are susceptible to super effective damage from the Primarina, whilst the Dragonite can't even deal its main source of damage via that scale shot. It's going to have to be forced, if it wants to go on the offensive, to go for the extreme speed.
Yeah, it's a really good point. So maybe Eric wasn't setting up for that Komodo, he was setting up for the Primarina. The main threat being that Rillaboom, and versus the rest of this team, as you're saying, Costa, Primarina is looking incredible right now. Great special bulk, immune to the scale shot, but not the extreme speed. But yeah, Dragonite picks off the Rillaboom, sure, but there's still the Primarina there.
I know, it's going to be a big issue if left unchecked. Coaching from the Blaziken, actually clearly trying to identify that, hey, unless it's going to be a Moonblast commit into that Dragonite, I could try to get some more damage dealt via extreme speeds in the future, but Moonblast enough to pick off the Dragonite. Eric disrespecting the Blaziken there, saying, right, I don't even care about breaking the Focus Sash. I need to get rid of that Dragonite. It opens up the path for success in my favor. Ninetales brought out against a Komodo, so a bit of an interesting interaction of the board state right now. Pros and cons for both sides.
Yeah, there certainly is. So the Komodo is there as well to capitalize if the main Komodo goes down, and Primarina there to also capitalize. But again, I think this Komodo could go down, and Primarina might still be able to carry this, honestly. Yeah, Blaziken does, yes, have special attacking moves, so it's not great to Primarina. So decent special attack, but Primarina's bulk is so good. Hyper Voice most likely deals out so much damage as well. I'm just cannot see a way yet, Federico, to kind of break this thing yet. But I suppose when there's a Ninetales with Blizzard, there is a way.
There it is. I know, that's what I was expecting you to say, my friend, and you did. Aura Sphere dealing so much damage onto that Como. Oh, Blizzard, is there going to be any sort of RNG roll in favor of Federico? You can see the anguish in his face. Not the case, as Klein Brasol actually trying to get set up there, not being able to do so. Eric trying to hedge his bets in terms of either I get the Como set up or I go ahead, pick up KOs, break a focus sash on the Blaziken with the Primarina. That's exactly what he did. Eric absolutely running away with this game one. Blaziken, I don't think is going to be able to commit and somehow get this win back for Federico's side.
Yeah, and Federico maybe locks in the forfeit the quickest I've ever seen it.
I know, same. That was astonishing.
So quick. He is not playing around.
No.
He is ready for game two. Okay, wow. So yeah, that was really convincing actually. And again, another sneaky Primarina. Really maybe star of the show this weekend that we might see a little bit more of maybe because yeah, like just seemed to have such a good matchup, right, into what Federico's composition was, and Federico's composition is, you know, it's a little bit unusual, but mostly typical picks there, really. Right. And yeah, once Rillaboom is down, Primarina looks incredible, honestly, into the entire matchup here. So I think Federico needs to be thinking about that.
Yeah, let's not forget, there was a double crit in favor of Federico in turn one of game one there.
Great point.
And it still wasn't enough for Federico to be able to bring it back because it just goes to show why, like you said, David, Primarina was such a vital bring, especially with that end game Como O, and holding on to the terrestrialization, so key. As long as you get rid of the Rillaboom and the main sort of threats that would really, you know, produce and force KOs onto the Primarina, that is clearly Eric's game plan there, and he did it to a really good degree. So if you're Federico, how do you try to bring this one back? Do you want to lean on to like a King Gambit or something else?
Well, I wonder if an Ursaluna with Terra Electric and Calm Mind of its own might be able to respond a little bit here.
Okay.
Because there is a lack of the ground type or the Ursaluna on Eric's end, for instance, that could punish a Terra Electric on Ursaluna Blood Moon.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you know you're going to commit that Terra Electric, start Calm Minding in front of that Primarina, which can't kind of match you with Calm Minds. You might be able to deal enough damage with the Blood Moon. But that is to say, Primarina has Haze on it as well, so it can cancel out those boosts. It is definitely an uphill battle, but if it's anyone that could beat it, it's maybe Federico. Wow,
and we actually see a bit of a change-up from both of our trainers with their leads, Blaziken and Dragonite now, allowing a sort of interaction of potential side coaching versus the Mousehold and Golden Go from Eric's side, which at the same time, you've got that Friend Guard available to be able to bolster the defenses of that Golden Go and potential set up the Master Block.
Yeah, you do. So a really nice switch up here for Eric, because if things went so well in game one, you can really switch it up and just go with something completely new here. The Federico might not even be thinking about, just kind of so focused on the Primarina. Right. This is brand new. There's a mouse on a stack of coins in front of you now. What do you do?
It's so true. I wouldn't know what to do. But Federico wants to try to protect and keep that focus sash intact whilst benefiting off of the speed boost at the end of the turn with the Blaziken in order to better position himself. But this actually has some really good synergy with a potential scale shot into the Mousehold, which, yeah, seems like the play from Federico's side, because at the same time, naturally speaking, speed-wise, Blaziken tend to be trained faster than Dragonite, so if both the Dragonite and Blaziken are at +1, you can still benefit off of a side coaching while still being faster than both of Eric's Pokemon.
Yeah, I like that call out there, Costa. Yeah, it's really cool. So you can still go for that really nice big play there. So this Dragonite doesn't have Tailwind, unfortunately, but you may not need it in this scenario, especially when you've already got that speed boost. Mousehold typically does carry that Terra Fairy that we've seen in previous matches today, but this is Terra Ghost, so he's not safe from the Scale Shot either in this scenario. So yeah, Federico has a fairly safe play here of Scale Shot plus something with Blaziken, which is either way going to get something off here, but Primarina, yeah, is probably the best switch you could possibly ask for.
Yeah, it's a good sort of defensive point to make from Eric's side, because you allow the Mousehold to still stay on the field, have Friend Guard available for the Primarina, and at the same time, the Primarina doesn't really get, I guess, like, threatened by anything on Federico's side. I would say, before seeing the coaching, which we know, it can stack up and allow so much offensive prowess coming out from a Dragonite, and even because of the speed interaction and the priority brackets, bypass a Follow Me to be able to start attacking that Primarina.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. So Federico's identified that we need big physical damage, damage, and the way to get that is extreme speed plus coaching. But there's a heat wave to finish off the mouse hold.
Yeah, and what a way to go about it, because at this point, you've been able to still keep both of your Focus Sash and Multi-Scale intact until this point. And you've got so much more profit off of it in terms of the resource available left on your side versus Eric. He's lost his main redirector and also Friend Guard, sort of enabler when it comes to additional bulk.
So a really nice play there from Federico overall. Yeah, you get rid of that supporter, and now this Premium Arena has been really dented to the point that you can just start kind of throwing attacks at it and start to make those like sacrifices of your own, because you're already 4-3 up at this point.
Yeah.
So you don't mind if you take attacks after now, given that Primo has no speed control around it to kind of make it go first either.
Yeah.
We know that Moonblast does so much damage, but yeah, there's not really an opportunity for it to actually go first here, especially considering if you've got an extreme speed plus heat wave, which looks like a really safe option for Federico. Of course, Eric can now respond. There is plenty of terror options at the moment. You've still got that terror poison, but it looks like Eric is just banking on this Primo to be able to just survive the turn.
Wow, this is going to be close. Extreme Speed says a no to Eric, and you can see the dismay in his face, thinking maybe there would have been a good chance for me to be able to resist it, but it would have also depended on the Heat Wave connect from Blaziken's side. Just going to show that Federico going on the offensive really pays off right now, and it's sort of caught out Eric's defensive potential setup, as opposed to the two leads that we saw in game one, that Rillaboom and the Sneasler, which sort of invite immediate pressure that Federico has to respect.
Yeah, it does. So, yeah, Eric unfortunately not getting the turn that he wanted at this point. Sneasler, though, is on the field, and when there's a Sneasler, there's a way.
That's true.
Yeah, with a lot of diagonal potential. However, there is no Grassy Seed activation yet, so Eric has to bank on Federico bringing their own Rillaboom in if you want to access that defense boost and that unburdened double speed. And at the moment, Federico's team is so fast.
Oh, and there's a Heat Wave, a miss on the Golden Go, which is definitely what you want to be able to target and start whittle away its HP remaining. But the Scale Shot, of course, more than enough just with a 2-shot to be able to pick up the KO, further bolstering the speed of this Dragonite. Super speedy right now. Some would say extremely speedy.
I would.
Oh, yeah, you would. But at this point, the Golden Go, it's left on its own. Sure, it could potentially pick up a KO here if there's a crit on the Dragonite, but no, there is not. But then again, Federico has another 2 Pokemon, full HP-wise and available in the back for that free switching into Blaziken's slot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything that could be brought in that Eric will be happy to see. And yeah, honestly, the Rillaboom is probably best case scenario. But I think Federico doesn't want to reveal anything that's in the back that he may think is a little bit more of an unusual choice. Whereas Rillaboom is a nice supporter. You don't have an Incineroar on the team, so it makes sense to bring Fake out. So Rillaboom's a little bit more of a usual choice there. So I think a good bring in here. And there's not a lot this Golden Go can do other than maybe hope for a lot of missing moves. So yeah, because high horsepower can miss, Scale Shot can miss, and unless Rillaboom goes for grass moves, then the Exposer is away there. So that's maybe Eric's hope at this point in this game 2. But I think if you're Eric, you probably want to start using that time to think about game 3, as you can really see the cogs whirring, I think, behind those headsets.
Yeah, exactly. And Scale miss shot from that Dragonite, but at this point, I don't think it really matters, because like we said, realistically, the Rillaboom should be able to pick up a KO as... Oh, actually, no, it's full HP Golden Go. This does mean that Federico's going to most likely have to reveal his final Pokemon, which is definitely not what he wanted to do. High horsepower, yeah, just barely misses it. And even though, like we said, this game was pretty much over because of just the overwhelming amount of resource, it has forced that reveal. So it sort of at least paints a picture for Eric saying, okay, Federico feels... more reliant to bring that Rillaboom and Alolan Ninetales, so at least let me try to find a way to be able to reposition what sort of preference of lead he can take, knowing that those 2 Pokemon are most likely always going to be on the quartet.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Now, we've got to be thinking about game 3, haven't we? Because, yeah, we know this Ninetales, it's going to outspeed. With the Life Orb, this Golden Go is definitely going down here. So, yeah, I think Primarina is still very good here. But we saw it came in a little bit too late when the Dragonite had set up a bit too much for those coaching boosts. So Eric's got to think of a way to try and deny those coaching boosts or the threat of this Dragonite. Because at the moment, Primarina is the answer to Dragonite, right? With that Moonblast. So we've got to look for other ways to be able to deal with it. Golden Go is a really nice way to do it, and hence the lead there too. But it was obviously pressured a little bit too much, at least Eric found from Federico's end. But maybe he needs to go a little bit more aggressive here, play a little bit less safe, and start maybe using Maltod for a follow me support, and just to go straight on that offense and get rid of it as fast as possible. Give Federico no room to set up those coaching.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call, because
Thanks.
at this point, you're welcome, because at this point, genuinely, I think that's sort of what's been lacking from this adaptation from Eric's side in Game 2, that immediate pressure. And even though this Sneasler doesn't have sword stance, which is what we're so used to seeing when it's a grassy seed set accompanied by the Rillaboom, it's got the close combat, Diaclaw, acrobatics, and protect sort of 4 move set. It doesn't mean that it can't deal so much damage and force terrestrializations, and that's clearly the key that Eric may need to be able to bring at the appropriate time. You saw he got a bit cheeky in terms of, hey, Federico, I know you're always bringing that Rillaboom, so let me try to capitalize off of that, and it just didn't work out as well for him.
No, it didn't. So, yeah, back to the drawing board somewhat here. So, really well played from Federico, just really showing what a great player he is. Like, that, like, looking at that Prima in Game 1, it just seemed impossible for Federico to break it without a Rillaboom. But this time, it was just completely doable, even without the Rillaboom being on the field in the first place.
I know, right?
Yeah, so completely turned it around there, and really not underestimating the power of extreme speed on Dragonite as well, where often we see Tailwind over that slot too. So Game 3, we're already here.
No, not just yet, David. Don't get too excited, my friend. But yeah, I think given the fact that we had the Blaziken and Dragonite lead, do you feel like it's appropriate for Eric to lead with the Primarina? Or will you expect Federico to anticipate that adaptation, make an adaptation of his own, and not lead with Blaziken Dragonite again?
Well, I expect Federico to think that Eric might expect that, that he
cool.
could bring Primarina in the back.
Yeah.
But whether Federico expects Eric to expect Federico expects that, that's another question entirely. But I definitely expect you to expect that Federico might expect it. But
you may have lost me. But it sounded like you knew exactly what you were talking about.
Oh,
so
yeah,
please,
definitely.
Please keep it going, my friend.
Basically, got no idea, mate.
Hey! No, I just think that there's a good case Primarina maybe opted in from Eric's side, but I think it's just around if it's too obvious of a situation where you bring your own Rillaboom to directly threaten it as a lead, and that's the situation we exactly see.
There it is!
There it is, Federico bringing the Rillaboom, anticipating the Primarina bring on the other side of the field, but then again, Eric goes a level deeper, brings Sneasler to proc the Grassy Seed and Unburden. Oh my lord, both of these trainers are absolutely out of their minds. Look at all the mind
We're so deep in now, Costa. This is like, oh my goodness, I don't know what, we might be on just like layer 1, but
layer 2 to 3.
Layer 2 to 3, yeah, I don't know. So right,
impressive.
It is impressive. Now, Sneasler is in. Oh, straight up Grassy.
Whoa! Whoa! Did he picking up the
Damage.
KO? My lord, is there going to be a double up? Diaclaw into the Rillaboom deals so much and causes a sleep as well. This could be so crucial in the subsequent turn. Blaziken Heatwave, is it enough to pick up the Primarina? It is enough, Primarina. The key that we were saying to Eric's strategy already out of Game 3 and this set. This is such a setback from Eric's side.
Wow, okay, yeah, that was an explosive turn there. Yeah, really nicely called here. I think Eric had been playing so defensive a lot of the time. Maybe Federico, expecting Eric to play a little bit more on the offensive there, go a little bit more aggressive, leading the Primarina open, as we saw had been done in our previous feature match as well. And yeah, really came back to fight him.
Oh, Diaclaw now going into the main again! We've got a second sleep, folks! Federico not happy! I don't blame him! Eric going ahead and just getting rid of the availability from Federico's actions, allowing a very clean, clangorous soul being set up right there, and all of a sudden, this game has once again been so explosive, completely changed and tipped over its head. We got a Como-O omni-boosted and at +2 special attack.
Wow, okay, yeah, that's pretty huge, honestly, there. There's the first guaranteed time of sleep on this Rillaboom as well, so it can wake up next turn. But yeah, that's exactly what Eric needed here in this match. Now, to be fair, it was looking pretty nice into Blaziken plus Rillaboom anyway,
yeah.
to be fair. But it's just obviously very nice for no damage to come out of either of these targets so that this Kommo-o can really have a lot of room to then take on hits later on in this game. So yeah, now Eric can really unleash this Kommo-o and start firing out those attacks. And yeah, another turn C for Blaziken is not what you want to see for Federico.
Yeah, Federico needs to force a turn one wait from both of his Pokemon, which say, no, I want to snooze. Let me hit a snooze on that alarm clock, because Blaziken is out, not even being able to get the utility that Federico saw in that game 2. Flamethrower picks up a KO on the Rillaboom. It is a 3 versus 2 scenario. So much setup on Eric's side. You've got that Unburden, you've got a super speedy Sneasler, and then a super speedy Kommo-o, the bolstered at plus special attack of 2 stages. This is not what you want as Federico, and honestly, all the momentum in Eric's favor right now.
Yep, so Ninetales and Dragonite are 2 Pokemon you definitely do want versus a Kommo-o here.
Yeah.
But Kommo-o can still go for that Terra Fire, which suddenly means it's going to resist both the Blizzard and the Moonblast from the Ninetales and not take super effective damage from this Scale Shot. And with that defense boost as well, it's going to be able to take on those hits a lot better too. So yeah, Eric is looking very much like he is in the driver's seat right now. He's just going to make the most of it and not throw it away. It could still very much swing back into Federico's favor. We've seen the sleeps from Diaclaw, and that means we could see other things from Ninetales' moves as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I unfortunately do, my friend, but we're going to have to see if it does come to fruition or not. We're going to have the Terra commit of the Kommo-o. Diaclaw will be able to break the multi-scale, no status condition dealt, but I don't think that's a big problem, as a Terra Fire Flamethrower more than enough to pick up the KO on the Ninetales, leaving Dragonite on its own to fend for itself. Scale Shot will connect. It will most likely pick up a KO if there's a 5th hit, but even then, to be honest, the Grassy Seed paying dividends there. However, you're not able to capitalize off of the fact that you've just got 1 Dragonite against 3 Pokemon to set up Kommo-o. This is tough, and I think this is game ending.
Yeah, it doesn't look great here. I mean, yeah, you've still got the Terra option, I suppose, but yeah, another lightning fast forfeit there. Federico is definitely going to seal this up for Eric Rios, who advances on to phase 2. Congratulations, round 8 win to Eric Rios.
What a way to go about it as well. We saw the back and forth in terms of the strategy that both of our trainers were employing. Eric running through that game 1 with the Primarine in the back. Fede going for that adaptation, so strong in that game 2 with the Blaziken Dragonite lead, only for both of these great minds to meet roughly in the middle in that game 3 lead. Sort of adaptation to adaptation, acknowledging and respecting what each of the other trainers had to bring and matching it both with individual slot brings as well.
Yeah, there was so many levels now. I loved it, honestly. Yeah, it was really cool to see. And yeah, seeing Kommo-o really pop on, honestly.